Welcome, Magenta friends, to another Magenta Minute, Cyber Saturday edition, coming to you from Dana Point, California. Hey, we've talked a little bit about CIS controls, and I'll put some information down below with regard to what those CIS controls involve, but there's 153 security controls separated into 18 implementation groups. And I talked about the first two, just securing hardware and software assets. School districts a lot of times will start to keep track, label, identify. Remember, those laptops and phones all have some sort of address, just like your physical address, that allows them to be found. So they might be software that maintain those, like eSIM, but they do have an address. And there may be multiples of those devices. So there may be different devices with several of those, and some that can change. So that's not an easy process. School districts working with software identification of assets are going to look to narrow the attack surface. They're going to improve their posture security-wise by eliminating the software you don't use and integrations and the password pass-throughs and all the things that make software work, single sign-on, and others. They're going to try to narrow those down so that it's just the software that you're maintaining and that are assets in your inventory. CIS Control Implementation Group 3 and 4 have to do more with data protection and configuration of assets and software. So the data protection, student information systems are super critical in schools, and they maintain a lot of student information. So working with their vendor, whether it be PowerSchool or Aries or another student information system that maintains Q, that maintains the student data as well as the parent data, super critical to maintain and secure, and to also make sure that the right people have the right levels of access. Educational purpose being typically the excuse we use to allow everyone at that school have access. But specialists and even district employees a lot of times will need to have access to student level data. Where it compares to class roster data, which is where those roster servers pass student name information and sometimes even passwords back and forth in an encrypted way. So it's about securing the data at the point where it's being stored and when it's in transit from your point to the next point, and securing it at the other end. So really securing the data it can take districts years to get all that put together. I'll talk a little bit more about software and maybe the configuration of software assets. It's just so complex because every piece of software is different, and as school and education software has grown up, it's not pretty how the sausage is made. Sometimes school districts are working with vendors that are upgrading from previous softwares that are written in entirely different languages with an entirely different environment in mind. So lots of things to talk about, especially as that applies to AI, school AI and magic AI, and other tools that are artificial intelligence related. Gosh, how is that student information being stored? So those are questions probably a lot of IT directors, like the ones I got to meet with this last week in San Diego. 42 school districts represented by the computers and IT and education group. And CITE is such a great network for people to be able to connect and for them to connect regionally. Sorry, I went a little bit longer, but I did on Saturdays said that sometimes these CIS controls are probably going to get a little deeper. And so welcome to your Saturday morning. Have a fantastic weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.